Welcome to Work You Love, real stories of career change and fulfillment. This is the show where we share real stories of people who once felt stuck in their careers, made a change, and found work that lights them up. I'm your host, Danielle. I've worn a lot of hats in my own career, from assistant, analyst, marketing manager, software engineer, and now business owner. And my mission here is simple: to help you find work that you love. Each week, you'll hear inspiring stories and practical tools to stop feeling stuck and start building a career that truly fits you. So let's dive in. Welcome to the first episode of Work You Love. I'm so excited for you to hear my husband's story, Evan, from Evan the Wild, into how he found a really fulfilling career as a running influencer. So tell us, what is Evan the Wild?
Yeah, so Evan the Wild is an Instagram account that I started in December, actually. And I really started it because I wanted to both track my journey through doing fitness challenges and fitness tests, because that's what I'm all about. And it kind of snowballed from there. I started thinking about different things that I wanted to do. So I initially started with posting about pistol squats because I loved pistol squats. And then I just started running one day, and that's when it flipped the switch, because I was thinking I was going to do one thing, but I felt so compelled to make a video of myself running, and it lit me up. And from there, I started making a lot of relatable running content, and it kind of just took off from there. And a lot of people were able to relate to my content because I made it all about relatability and humor. It was never about me. It's always about spotlighting everybody else. And so fast forward to where we are today, and it's growing. We're nearing 10,000 followers, which I'm really excited about. At the same time, I also launched a subscription business because I want to be able to include more people into a community that is really away from the social media side of, bringing people down and feeling judged. And my community, people can come and they don't feel that at all. They're very included, and we cheer each other on.
It's a very cool community. I'm in it and I love it. So tell us a little bit about where you were when you actually started your Instagram page. What sparked your interest in doing that?
Yeah. Well, I think I was at an inflection point in my life. I spent a lot of time with you, my wife, and I always saw you doing a lot of, whether it's self-improvement or just you're very entrepreneurial and starting your own thing. And initially I did not have any interest in doing that. I was like, my 9 to 5 is fine. I was a senior product manager for quite some time. And while my job was fine and everything like that, it kind of, your words kind of eventually got under my skin in a good way. And I was like taking a look at my life, and I decided I wanted to do something about it. And even though I've tried so many times to do something about it and failed, this time felt different. And I think that one of the reasons it felt different was because I decided to get a life coach. And when I was looking into getting a life coach, the first thing I thought was, well, why the heck would I need anybody to tell me how to live my life? Like, why do you need somebody to coach you? It's like, this is your life. You should know, how to do what you want or do what you want. And then I thought to myself, well, then how come I'm not doing what I want to be doing? And that was a time I was very real with myself, and it hit me hard enough that I was like, let's try something else, because what I've been trying has not worked. And I keep trying the same thing every year. I, find something I'm interested in. I'm passionate about it for a little bit. The passion wears off, and then the motivation goes away, and then I'm back to square one. So through that life coaching and through, just being around you, that just skyrocketed me, because I found my purpose. And I didn't have to rely on motivation anymore, because every day I wake up so excited to work on what I work.
Yeah, it's very cool. And you mentioned finding your purpose. What was the process for you there? What did you think about to end up creating something around fitness or running? Did you ask yourself a few questions? What did that look like?
Yeah, well, I wasn't sure what it was. And in fact, in the beginning, whenever my life coach would say, all right, so let's figure out what you want, the only thing I'd say is, I don't know. And she kept telling me, if you keep saying, I don't know, you'll never know. It's just something that you keep repeating to yourself. And when you repeat these things, you're going to say the same thing over and over, which means that's just what you're going to become, because what you say, you become. And initially, I was deciding between two routes. One, I love cooking, as you know, and two, I love exercise. So there were two paths that I could have taken. And honestly, looking back, I think I would have been happy with either one. They're both things that I still love to do. And so it didn't, at the time, it felt very hard choosing one or the other. But looking back, like, who knows, maybe one day I'd start a cooking channel too, and I'm sure I'll be good at it too. But then I decided, I was thinking about what I love to do and what I love to talk about. And, you know, you're into exercise, I'm into exercise. 90% of our conversations are on exercise. So I thought, let's do this. And I already had a little bit of a personal training background. I exercise no matter what because I love to do it and I love to talk about it. So let's just combine all these things. And I think the last part, which is really big, is that I know I'm a funny person. So I knew I'm able to relate to people and to connect with them through humor. So that's what I did. And when I started, I had no idea what to really make. So I just started filming literally anything and everything. I didn't know what would stick. I didn't even know what like my whole outcome at the end of the day was. All I knew is that I discovered my purpose to get people as excited about fitness as I am. And that's why I did it through humor, because humor is important to me too. And from there, it just kept snowballing.
I love what you said about not pigeonholing yourself into, let me just take this action step now and try it out in the fitness world. And in the future, I can always go back to cooking, because I think people get really stuck on, oh, like what I'm doing now is what I have to do forever. And that's so not the case. We have like our whole lives to explore and work in different areas. So I really like that. One thing that comes up a lot is this fear of just showing up on social media. And that stops a lot of people from taking that action. They might have this interest in something that a lot of other people are interested in, but because they don't think that they can show up confidently online, they feel really limited in that. Was that something that you ever felt, or how did you overcome that?
Yeah, I think definitely in the beginning, I was very concerned with would this connect with people. And then when I started my pistol squat journey, I even got some YouTube comments. Someone was like, hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you're just extremely unathletic. And I thought it was so funny. And I love that that was my reaction to it, because I know myself and I know I'm not unathletic. It's just that this was a very hard movement. But I also knew that the stuff that I'm putting out is really, it's never about me. Very rarely. I mean, sometimes I get updates because, you know, I want to share my life with people, but it's never about like, you know, here's how awesome I am. It's always like, here's how funny this situation is that we all relate to. And so everybody's in on the joke. And so I guess it took pressure off of me, because it was so community oriented from the start that everybody was already in on the joke. And so I never actually felt that I was putting myself too much out there, because it was always, I guess, behind the sheath of, well, we're all in this. We've all experienced this.
Yeah, and you were really thinking about the people that you wanted to reach versus you showing up on camera doing something.
Yeah, and there was definitely parts of me, you know, especially in the first 6 months of it, where I was so focused on, will this land? You know, so I guess I was never as scared as like showing up as it was, what if nobody shows up on the other side of the camera? You know, what if nobody's viewing this? And I did get, you know, very into, oh, this didn't get enough views. And it's so funny looking back, because I would journal literally every single win that I had. So if one person commented, I would celebrate it like I just got 1 million comments. And so now I'm at a spot where, you know, at least once a week I have a video that gets over 100,000 views. And sometimes I don't take the time to appreciate it. And so those wins don't feel as dramatic anymore. You know, something that gets 1,000 views just doesn't feel the same way. But over the last few weeks, what I've done is kind of go back to my old self, which is looking at each one and celebrating each one. Because even if you get 2 people to look at your video, that's 2 strangers, and you could have impacted somebody's life, which is such an amazing thing. And I'm always thinking about, what impact do I have? I'm imagining this person on the other side of the camera, and if I can make their day in any way, like that just makes my day.
Yeah, I love that. It's the focus is on impact over anything else. And I think that that does take a lot of pressure away from needing to show up in a certain way. I want to rewind a little bit because I know a lot of my viewers are in full time jobs that they might feel really stuck in or not like that much. Can you talk a little bit about how you were able to, at the time, balance, full time job with doing this on the side, and then how that ended up transitioning into something that you did full time?
Yeah. Well, I think the distinction that I made very early on is really comes back to my purpose. So because I was so purpose driven, and to go back to what my purpose is, it's really to inspire people and make them so excited about exercise, just like how I'm excited about exercise. And if I could change their life like that, it's a win for me. So learning how to appear in a certain way on camera, learning how to edit, learning how to film, learning how to script, all these stuff never felt like a chore, never felt like a job. It was always something I get to do, not something I have to do. So I never woke up and I'm like, well, Evan, all right, let's look at our planner. All right, so all right, we got to film today and we got to edit and we got to post it before this time because this time all my followers are online and this and that. So after finishing my 9 to 5, this was like a reward to do. It was something I got to do, and it was something that's so fun. So I looked at it as, I mean, I didn't actually have to look at it in a certain way. It just was a certain way. It was my break from work. I was so excited to do it, and I was always just so consumed by it. Even in work, I was thinking about my next idea. And the thing in the beginning is that, like, and it's still happening now, is that the ideas just keep coming to me because I'm never in a place where I'm coming from, what's my to-do list? I'm thinking of, what do I want to accomplish today? What are my outcomes that I want to accomplish?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's such good advice, and that's something that I really emphasize on my channel is when you do start something, make sure it feels really authentic and real to you, because even when I started out building my own business, I tried drop shipping, and that quickly became not so interesting, and I dropped it after a few months after putting all of this effort into like building a website, and I just didn't care about it, so it felt like another chore. So I think that's such a good piece of advice. So just going back to you having the drive and motivation to continue to show up, were there any tools or resources that you used, like when you did hit some kind of roadblock? One, what were some of those roadblocks? And two, what did you turn to overcome them to remain consistent? Because especially on social media, when things aren't gaining traction in the beginning, it could take 6 months, a year. You really don't know when something's actually going to resonate with people.
I think whenever I had a roadblock, and I still have them now, I go back to really two things. One, what is my plan? So I think about what my plan is. I always hear the term, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So I first think, am I operating out of fear? So, and fear usually comes from, Evan, you don't have a plan right now. So I always look back at my plan and look at my outcomes again, and what do I really want out of this? And what it really comes down to is I always want to show up as myself. And so that really takes the burden off of me to not be like, well, is it performing a certain way? Am I going the right direction or not? As long as I'm putting out something that makes me laugh or that makes me feel good, that really aligns with me, then the rest will come, because I'm not looking to attract every single person who's into running or into fitness. I mean, that would be amazing, but it's not realistic. And not everybody's going to love my flavor. So as long as I'm doing what I love to do, I'll attract people that love my content. And in the beginning, especially, I had this, I would say, naivety that everybody should love my content. My content should be getting millions of views every single time. That's just not the case. And so I switched my focus from what everybody else is feeling to, how do I want to present myself? And just by doing that, it really takes away any of these mental roadblocks that I had, because I'm just creating what I love. And when I do that more often than thinking the other way, that's when my content skyrockets. When I take the pressure off of, what if this, what if that, how do I do this? And instead just think about, what do I want to create? That's when my content performs the best. And no matter what, I always have to go back to that. So I'll always like post for a couple weeks or something like that, and then I'll feel like that other person again, that person who's like, man, like I need my content to connect and this and that and the other thing. But once I remind myself that as long as I create from a place that I love and a place of authenticity, that's when my content starts to shine again.
Yeah, and this actually might tie into the next question, which is if someone's watching this and they're really feeling inspired to get started as a content creator, they've felt this pull that they're meant for something more, they feel stuck in their jobs, similar to what you had experienced at some point, what's the best piece of advice that you could give to someone who's listening right now?
That's a hard one. There's a lot of things that come to mind, but I'll try to keep it simple. I found that actually posting on TikTok is such a great way to get started because everybody's just talking off the cuff. And I think one of the hardest things to do is just to start talking. And especially right now, there's a lot of people on TikTok that are just doing public speaking challenges where, and I think challenges are a great way to get into it to like, work that muscle of being comfortable on camera. So, they just start talking. They introduce themselves. Hi, I'm Evan. This is my first time ever posting on social media. And you'd be surprised how supportive the community is there. So it's really cool to see. And then also turn on your camera and just sit there until it feels good. At the same time, amp yourself up before you get on camera every single time. Whenever you're going to deliver something, people can feel your energy. I mean, if I'm talking to you and, I'm talking like this, people can feel my energy change. So you really want to get excited. So before I post and before I even create, I get really excited. I put on some pump up music or some fun music, just anything that makes me feel good because I want to share something that makes me feel good too. So why wouldn't I do that from a place of feeling good? And so to recap, amp yourself up, try TikTok because I think it's a great barrier, and keep that camera rolling until it feels good, and then just post it. No matter what, just post it. You could delete it in a week or something like that, and I guarantee you, nobody cares. And I feel like so many people say this online, but I'm just going to repeat it. Nobody cares. And here's proof that nobody cares. How many videos do you scroll on social media in like a day? It might be like a bajillion, And if you look at something and you don't like it, you don't just open the comments and be like, this person sucks, I hate you, and like, blah, blah, blah. You just go on to the next video and you don't even remember that happened. So at the very most, like that's what's going to happen. And then people just go on with their lives. So you have to be able to put yourself out there and just don't overthink it. That's it.
Yeah, I think that's great advice, and one of the hardest things to start doing. So I like that TikTok, I had no idea TikTok was a good space for just experimentation. And to wrap this up, the last question that I want to ask everyone on this podcast is, what are you most looking forward to in this entrepreneurial journey as this content creator, fitness influencer?
What I'm most looking forward to constantly changes actually, because I set a goal, and when you hit that goal, you just want a new one. And it's so crazy. I think back, and no, I'm not a billionaire by any means. But I think about people who have that amount of money, and I'm like, well, why are you still working? And it's because they love what they do. And so, my next milestone for me, let's say for followers, is I would like to hit 10,000. It just sounds like a cool number, and that sounds great. And I also want to build up my subscription business, so I have financial goals for that. So I'm looking forward to hitting those metrics. And I know after that, I'm going to be excited to hit another one. And so what I love about this entrepreneurial journey is that it never ends and it's constantly new. You're constantly raising the bar and you're learning so much every single day about what you want, and what you want changes. And so it's okay to go into this journey thinking you want one thing, or being unsure about what you want, as long as you have a target. It could be multiple targets, but pick one and just go to it. And it's okay if you pivot along the way, because you'll grow. And it's the only way you're going to grow. But if you start at your beginning of your journey and you're like, well, I might want to do this, I might want to do that, so I just need to spend some time figuring out which one I want to do, you'll be stuck in that position forever. Take action, and that action will beget more action, and you'll gain clarity as it goes. And so I feel like looking back, when I started this in December, I've evolved so much. I don't even know who that Evan was. And I'm so proud of what I've become. And I know that in 6 months from now, I will be unrecognizable to myself. And that's what I love about this. It's the personal growth, it's the impact that I get to share with others. And I'm just so excited to see what happens over the next 6 months, 12 months, 5 years, 10 years of this journey.
Yeah, I think that's such a cool takeaway when you think about Evan 2 years ago, 3 years ago. You could have never had imagined the place that you're in now. And I think that's so important for people to remember. Things are so possible for you that you might not even be able to dream of right now. But once you start taking these steps, you start becoming aware of what you're interested in. You start taking action steps. You can do that as Evan did with as you did, sorry, with your full-time job. And then it turns into something so much bigger than what you could have imagined. So I love that. Thank you so much for being my first guest. And
Thank you for having me in my apartment.
I'm proud of you. I want to wrap up here with 3 clear takeaways that you can apply to your own journey. I never want you to leave this podcast still not knowing what to do next. First, create awareness. Evan realized he wanted more by being around someone who encouraged him to dream bigger. So really sit down and get honest with yourself. What is it that you really want? What do you love to do? This is not what you think that you should do because of your parents or what society tells you. This is what you authentically want. Second, gather evidence. Surround yourself with people who inspire you, even if that's following them on social media. Evan did this, and now he's actually meeting one of his inspirations in real life. Third, I want you to take action. Evan hired a life coach, and that's one of the best things that you can do. Invest in yourself. If you want more support and accountability, I'm creating a group coaching program to help people step into work that they love. You can join the waitlist through the link below. So remember, 1, create awareness of what you want. 2, find evidence that it's possible. And 3, take action, even if it's small steps. Evan started with just posting short workout clips, and it grew from there. And when doubt starts to come up, don't just focus on yourself, focus on the impact that you want to make and the value you bring. That's a wrap for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed this one, and stay tuned because we have so many different and inspiring career change stories coming your way.